Okay, what is up, y'all? My name is Nick, and welcome to Roll Coverage, where today I'm asking one simple question, and a question that's going to get me a lot of hate, but is Bryce Young really the answer? That's it. Nice and simple.
Brother.
Let's get to it. It's time to Roll Coverage.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope.
They roll coverage.
So obviously we're asking the simple question, is Bryce Young the answer? Now as we go and look at the 2024 season, we obviously see that last 10-game stretch where he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. The one thing we can't do, though, is overlook that. He did miss 2 games because he was benched. In the first 2 games he played, he had 0 touchdowns. In fact, there is 3 touchdowns that separate him and Kirk Cousins, and most people believe Kirk Cousins is washed. So, is Bryce really meeting the objective, or are we just happy with the progress that we've seen? Coming from my perspective, I was a Stroud and a Frank Reich guy. I can't deny that. I was not a Bryce fan, but I'm not going to lie, when we took him, I absolutely thought he could do it. He was able to do a lot in college. In fact, his senior season, which was his worst of his 2 starting seasons, he had 32 touchdowns, which is more than he's thrown in 2 full seasons in the NFL. So Bryce Young is not used to this environment and not used to everything, but now he's finally getting the environment that he deserves, a stable environment. I'm not going to lie, I also wasn't a big fan of the Hunt or Lewis signing them on. They're really good offensive linemen, but we absolutely could have gotten guys like Jackson Powers-Johnson and Max Frazier, and of course, instead of taking Trevin Wallace, could have taken Peyton Wilson, the linebacker that eventually went to the Steelers. So I think we kind of messed up in a little bit, and I think we're kind of overcorrecting again this year. Now, obviously, as we looked at the 2025 NFL draft, there's so many opportunities for Bryce to get help, both on the offensive and the defensive side. Obviously, he's not running on the defense, but that defense needs to step up because Bryce can put us in position to win. The defense can also give it away, which we saw last year being the NFL's worst defense. Now, would I love a Jalen Walker? Yeah, I think he would be really good in it. I wish we could get a Jalen Walker in the 2nd round, but he's going to be a top 15 pick. A Mike Green, the pass rusher. I would love to go get him. I would love a Mason Graham. But to be honest, the only person we should really look is Ted McMillan. I understand last year we went for a 1st-round wide receiver in Xavier Legette, and he really hasn't worked to the level we wanted. But to be honest, with the wide receiver core of Tet at wide receiver 1, Xavier at wide receiver 2, and Jalen Coker at wide receiver 3, essentially in the slot, I think this team could absolutely explode. Now, offensively, we're going to have to figure out some things like tight end, as Jatavian Sanders isn't a great blocker, and we really need that dynamic blocker, so I'm expecting Tremble or Ian Thomas to stay. I also wouldn't be surprised if we, down the road in the draft, also look at a tight end. Overall, though, I think that Bryce is the right answer for now. I'm not going to make this a super long video. I'm going to give you the answer. I believe in Bryce under Dave Canales. And I believe in Dave Canales more than I believe in Bryce. In fact, I did a 9-part Who is Dave Canales series. I've done a whole breakdown on a bunch of people, including Brant Tillis and Dan Morgan. I have looked into what we have here, and I'm super happy with what we're building outside of Dan Morgan. Now, hopefully this draft is a A+ draft for us rather than a C+ draft like last year's. I understand a lot of people might say, oh my God, we cooked in the draft, but I just don't see that talent on the field, especially with the way Trevin Wallace played last year. Obviously a rookie, but hey, let's see measurable improvement like we saw Bryce year over year. Dave Canales is giving us the stability at head coach. Brad Itzik at the OC is not going anywhere. He's going to stay here, so let's see what we can build. I obviously like that Evero was maintained. This defense need pieces, but I'd rather spend the free agency dollars on defense and draft Tet with the number 8 pick and really give Bryce that dynamic wide receiver. Because again, we're in another evaluation year of Bryce. We're not moving on from him yet. If we get to the end of next season and he's a 24 touchdown, 11-12 pick guy and we're 500, I don't know if that's enough to keep the starting job. I take that back. He'll probably keep the starting job even with those stats. But even then, that's rookie Daniel Jones stats. We need to get him into the 30s in terms of total passing touchdowns, as rushing touchdowns are going to inflate his numbers a little bit. I'm really looking at the passing touchdowns. That's what he's here for, not for scrambling, not for anything else. It's kind of like Joe Burrow. Nobody goes in and counts in his rushing touchdowns. They go off passing touchdowns for the most part. Of course, total touchdowns is a thing, but you get what I'm saying. Overall, though, I think Bryce is in a position to succeed. This year is a crucial one, though, where we need to see that finally kind of put together. We saw it the last 10 games of the season. And now we need to see it these first 10 games of this season. We need to see that continue. If he starts off in a funk again, then I'm not sure if this is... I don't know. Do we start Dalton the first few games and then let Bryce start like 3 or 4 games in? Like, I don't know. But either way, I'm absolutely on the Bryce train, especially for 2025. He's going to go through some highs, some lows, and so much more. I'm super excited, and I hope he has Tet to throw to. But I want to know your opinion. I made Roll Coverage to talk sports for sports' sake. It's down there for a reason. Make sure you reach out to me on Twitter or reach out to me in the YouTube comments below, and I'll bring you on the show to talk about sports, anything you want, from cricket to NFL, and of course, our Carolina Panthers. Otherwise, hopefully have a great rest of the day, and I hope to see you in the next one.